Hey, what's happening? Okay, today I want to talk about the dangers of ultra events. Okay, now any athletic event, there's going to be a certain amount of danger because when you have athletes pushing themselves to the max, okay, things can happen. But where ultra events separate themselves is they go on so long that events that would not affect a shorter competition can affect an ultra. And they can come out of nowhere. And we just had probably the greatest tragedy in marathon running, and it happened in China. 21 great endurance athletes lost their lives, okay, because of a confluence of events that no one could have predicted, okay? And as I looked at the report on this, I think it's called the Stone Forest Ultra Marathon, there were some interesting points that when you look back in retrospect, you say that was more important than we assumed it would be. The Stone Forest Ultra Marathon was regarded as one of the easiest marathons in China, which is having a marathon boom right now. But where it was unique is in its checkpoints. Checkpoints in ultras are important because you check in the runner condition, boom, there's fluids, there's food. If something has to be done, we can take care of it. But the way this marathon was set up, which again is perceived as one of the easiest marathons, it started at an elevation of 6,500 feet. And after its initial climb, after the 6,500, there was a long segment that was inaccessible. They couldn't have a checkpoint. It was inaccessible to the public, food, anything that you may need. Now again, put in your mind that this is perceived as an easier ultra. Now, what event happened that could not be predicted? Again, it adds to how things can happen when it's a longer event. Is out of the blue, the weather changed dramatically. Dramatically. So, as they were going through this stretch where no checkpoints, no food, no nothing, okay, it went from a beautiful day in the beginning to down to 20 degrees, rain, hail, extreme wind, okay? And you have people running in as light an outfit as they can run. So, consequently, the dangers of hypothermia became very realistic. And again, I'll take you back. We are at a checkpoint where, hey, this stretch of the run, there's no help. And again, the assumption is this is just one stretch of a perceived easier ultra, okay? Nature doesn't care if you are the greatest conditioned athlete in the world. We are all fragile when we are faced with the conditions that the environment can put on us. And the problem is when you're an ultra athlete, okay, you also have that mind strength, which is go forward, go forward. Go forward. They're used to pain, okay? And they're used to not quitting, all right? So, because of the extreme weather situation, no help, 21 great ultra runners lost their life, okay? Now, when you look back, there are so many things that could have been done differently, and this wouldn't have happened. Obviously, we cannot assume when you're going on an ultra, and I know I talked to some ultra athletes out there, there can be no lay of land that a checkpoint is not in reasonable distance, okay? The other thing is, in this Stone Forest Ultra, because of the perceived what the weather was going to be, they only carried one blanket. Usually on marathons, you got a whole backpack of survival stuff. But again, the weather was good, so ultras are always thinking of competition, and they wanted to travel light, all right? So another thing you can put under the confluence of events that happen that create tragedy, okay? So as I speak to athletes out there who follow the Maloney method, it's a sad thing when I hear of something like that, all right? Because we all relate to other athletes, and we all relate to pushing beyond our boundaries, okay? But there's a lesson to be learned here. And the lesson is, again, you have to think extra hard when you're going on an ultra event. You cannot count on what people are telling you the weather's going to be. You have the responsibility to assume there may be events that could not be predicted, okay? You have to assume that you might be left alone in a dire situation, okay? You have to be completely ready for your own survival, because things happen that no one could predict, and again, we are no match for nature, okay? No match for nature, all right? So I'm very sorry for the people in China, the people who know the people who were lost. It's a very, very sad story. But I hope that I can get across, because I know I talk to a lot of extreme athletes out there, all right? Even though your mind tells you you are indestructible, it is lying to you. You're strong, but you're not indestructible. So you gotta think, and you have to be prepared for these events that you do, and you cannot assume that other people are preparing for you. You're the final word. You have to be ready for things that come out of nowhere, because at the end, if you're ready, you have a very good chance of surviving, okay? If you were prepared for maybe some crazy weather event, maybe you could have avoided hypothermia longer. At least you would have had a chance, okay? and make sure that whatever event you're doing, that you have experienced people who have checkpoints at reasonable distances to check on your progress and make sure you're okay so you can be the best you can be that day. Okay? This is the Maloney method.